Two friends, Asai and Ichikawa, went on their regular mountain climbing trip together, but unfortunately this time they got caught up in a serious snowstorm, with one of them being wounded after an accident during the climb. Coupled with blood loss and a broken leg, they were stuck in a dire situation. Their only options were to either both die out there, or one of them makes it out of the storm and hopefully gets to a cabin they know should be around the area. With the situation as it was, the wounded friend decides to stay behind, since it's already too late for him. Plus, he never had anything to live for in the first place, with debts and burdens racking up. It seemed like the perfect idea, but before that, he had something to get off his chest. As his friend listened closely, he bursts into tears, saying, "Forgive me," before uttering the words, "I killed her." Her being Sayuri, one of their former classmates when they came on a school trip here before. Still in tears, he tells his friend how this has been eating him up on the inside, causing him not to lead a proper life because of the guilt and regret he felt on the inside. But now that he has told him, he feels so much better since it's over for him. But before he could completely accept his fate, the storm gives way a bit, and luckily for them, the lodge was close by, and they both could be saved if they made it in to wait out the storm. Asai quickly carries Ichikawa on his back as they made their way to the lodge. Now in the lodge, Asai gets to a phone making a call to the officials down the mountain, telling them a bit about their situation. They tell him he'll have to wait out the storm till morning, worst case 2 days, before they can make it to them. As he was about telling them he had an injured friend, the call got disconnected. He goes back to tell Ichikawa about the situation, but he seemed different and less responsive than before. Asai thought to himself, it must be about the confession earlier. He clearly regrets it now that was safe. But that's fine. That's expected. The issue now is what if he starts to think of ways to relieve his regrets. But nah, that can't happen. It'll be too crazy. While lost in thoughts, Ichikawa tells him he can't feel his legs anymore. He immediately gets up to go outside for their bags left behind, which had emergency supplies they needed. As he made his way to the bags, he convinces himself to just talk it out with him to clear the air. He makes it back to the lodge. Opening the door, he hears Ichikawa on the phone saying, "Yes, just myself," and ends the call abruptly. Ichikawa tells him the official just wanted to be sure they were still there. But even so, what did "just myself" mean? Why would he say he's alone when there are two of us here? Unless he'll be the only one here once they arrive, and the one that knows his secret will be dead, right? Nah, I must be overthinking things. They must have asked who was injured and that's all. But what if my worst fears come true? I better not ask him why, so he won't get any ideas. Then an idea came to him. Asai then asked Ichikawa for his cell phone to call them back, but the phone was conveniently busted. According to him, he quickly gets up, making his way to the kitchen, looking for something but couldn't find it. Ichikawa suddenly shows up behind him, asking him what's wrong. He replies telling him there's no knife to cut things for dinner, as Ichikawa hands him a knife to use, and he made dinner. While eating, Ichikawa asks for the knife back, which he gave back in a hesitant manner. After eating, he stayed awake paranoid, thinking about the knife and axe he couldn't find, and if his thoughts about his friends were right all along. Ichikawa gets up, heading to the restroom. Seeing this as a chance, Asai quickly checks around if the knife were hidden somewhere but still couldn't find them. Ichikawa asks him what he is looking for after getting back. He quickly told him he had a cold and needed drugs. Obviously that seems sus, but either way they both behaved as normal. Asai gets up this time to get his bag from outside in pretense to get drugs from it, but he had other plans unfortunately. Reaching where his bags were, he couldn't see his bag under the thick snow which had accumulated over time outside, and decides to head back. Reaching there, he tries to spy on his friend in efforts to catch him off guard, since him being back this early after stepping out is not the most likely situation to happen. He looks inside, hoping to catch him off guard, but doesn't see him, then hears a tap on the window next to the door. His friend, looking concerned through the other window, tells him to come inside. Seeing this, he realizes he's the one that's been paranoid and his friend has just been looking out for him as he gets back into the lodge. Meanwhile, getting back inside, they both decide to just rest and wait things out. While trying to sleep, Ichikawa, looking all sus, tells him he won't do what he's thinking, and he's always felt indebted to him, so why would he think of doing such? Hearing this, he felt relieved, while also remembering even if he were to attack him, he had the upper hand, since Ichikawa has a bad foot. The night passes, and now it's morning. Waking up, he noticed it's still dark outside by 7 a.m., which is unusual. Or was something wrong with him, or his eyes? He thought, as he tried not to let his friend notice. He begins to ponder on what might probably be the cause of this, and then realized it had to be mountain sickness, which causes one's eyesight to be bad gradually until there is sufficient oxygen. And the only place to get sufficient oxygen is on the ground level. Realizing this, he tries to do the necessary things before he can't see anymore, like eating and using the toilet. Time passes, and he remembers when he first called, they said they would check on him in the morning, but it's 12 already. That seems strange to him. So he went to give them a call instead, only to see the line has been cut. He quickly turned back, in fear, only to see his friend's blurry figure, but on closer inspection, he was holding a knife and a hatchet. He immediately begs him, saying he will never tell anyone, but Ichikawa asks for proof, seeing as he can always say anything to get out of this situation. As they both sit on the floor, Ichikawa tells him the only way is to confess something of equal value to him. Asai tries convincing him by telling him they've always been close friends that talk about everything, but Ichikawa cries out, saying it's never been the case and that it's all been for show just to make him look good in front of people. Hearing this, Asai then goes on telling him different things that could help convince him in this situation for like 2 hours or so. Ichikawa simply gets up close to him and asks what he was holding. Asai couldn't make out what it was. Then he realized Ichikawa has just been buying time for his eyesight to be worse. Immediately, Ichikawa tries to attack, but Asai evaded and hid himself in the toilet. But now stuck in there, he comes up with a brilliant plan. That is, first off, set an alarm for 6 a.m. when help is likely to come, then go on this continuous evading of Ichikawa, and since he will be coming after him with a headlamp, since the lounge is pretty dark, there will be no problem seeing him coming. And so the chase begun, with Asai trying to evade Ichikawa till 6 a.m. In the midst of the chase, Ichikawa tells him it's all his fault. He's always had a crush on Sayu, but found out they were dating while during the search for her. He dropped a pen with her name on it, and that's how we realized they were both dating. And to confirm his suspicion, he tried returning the pen back to Asai, but his face looked terrified while looking at the pen, which he simply just wanted to return to him. This alone confirmed his suspicions, but what pained him the most was only after a month after she was missing, Asaya was already engaged to some rich girl, which means she never meant anything to him in the first place. As also, when her body was found, there was a 3-month-old baby in her, which was Asai's. Hearing this, he missed a wooden pillar in front of him and ran straight into it. This made him lose sight of Ichikawa for a moment, with no headlights or footsteps. It seemed he had disappeared. But, in the midst of the darkness, the sound of something falling right behind him was heard. Turning back, he sees Ichikawa this close to him and quickly evades and makes another round trip. Ichikawa this time barricades the only exit from the second floor, aside the stairs, making this checkmate. With Asai cornered, there was only one thing for him to do. Ichikawa comes up the stairs. Not seeing Asai, he begins searching for him since he will obviously be hiding somewhere, which was true. Asai was waiting in hiding for Ichikawa to show up so he can end this. Ichikawa sees a possible hiding spot and tries going in to search for Asai, but for some reason he stops and closes up the place, perfectly seeing Asai in the darkness unknowingly, while still searching frantically for him, pleading and threatening him to come out. Time passes with Asai in continual darkness and fright, thinking on how to get out of this situation while waiting for the alarm to ring, which seemed like it took forever, but at last it rang. Feeling relieved, he quickly looked for a way out of the room he was in, made it out, and saw the morning light. He went out of the window in efforts to escape, but saw the headlights Ichikawa used to chase him lying on the side until Ichikawa swings down, grabs him by the neck, ready to strangle him, as he told Asai how he found the clock set to 6 a.m. and used it to trap him. Tears rolling down, breath running short, energy fading away, he said with his last breath, "I'm not lying. I won't tell anyone because I killed Sayuri." Silence swept the room as he explained how she didn't really die when he strangled her the first time, and when he found her, he dealt the final blow, seeing as she was truly a bother to him and he had to get rid of her. In excitement, Ichikawa lets go of Asai, as he is actually innocent, and tells Asai that his secret is safe with him, since he knows how he feels. Asai, obviously not listening to him, tired and still shaky, had one thought in his head. "I'm ruined." I told him everything. Fear, anger, anxiety, desperation, all this continued to rage in him. He looked over at the hatchet on the floor until The next morning, help arrived, carrying only one of them back. And the other? Well, let's just say he was lost and won't be found after a very long time.